I'm a werewolf. Where would that scumbag keep it?
Being a werewolf solved all your high school problems? Bad basketball skills, being unpopular, and even getting the girl? In Teen Wolf, Scott Howard is a struggling high school basketball player who spends most of his time stuck on the bench. When he discovers that his family carries a werewolf gene, he suddenly transforms from a bench warmer into a star athlete overnight. As his popularity explodes, Scott starts to question who his real friends are and must decide whether to keep relying on his wolf powers or learn to win on his own terms. Starring Michael J. Fox, Susan Ursitti, Jerry Levine, and James Hampton, it was a scrappy cast in a low-budget comedy that turned into one of 1985's biggest surprise hits. Today, we're diving into 15 weird facts about Teen Wolf. But before we get started, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps YouTube show this video to more retro movie fans just like you. Oh, and stick around for number 15, because you won't believe how a writer's dumbest college stunt became the movie's most iconic scene. Now, let's get started. Number 1. There's no flasher in the final basketball scene. Just decades of blurry rumors. For decades, Teen Wolf carried an urban legend that someone supposedly flashed the camera during the final basketball scene. The blurry quality of VHS tapes made it impossible to check clearly, so it naturally turned into 80s movie gospel. The moment in question happens in a crowd shot right after Scott kisses Boof. Pause it, squint, and believe whatever you want. Fast forward to 2019, and a man named Chris Hegarty claimed he was the flasher, hoping for viral fame. High-definition scans quickly proved that wasn't the case. Swing and a miss, Chris. Then in 2024, TikTok, the platform that solves everything from cold cases to song titles, analyzed a 2K scan of the original film negative and ended the debate for good. The so-called flasher was actually a woman with a sweater tied around her waist and her pants unzipped. That's it. Another extra, Mylan Sarley, later confirmed that women on set often loosened their tight 80s outfits between takes because spandex and high-waisted denim were basically medieval torture devices. Someone adjusted uncomfortable clothing during a long shoot day, and grainy VHS footage turned it into a 3-decade controversy. Number 2. The studio delayed the release to cash in on Back to the Future's success. Teen Wolf was never expected to be a hit. Atlantic Releasing filmed it in late 1984 for just $4 million, basically the catering budget of a John Hughes movie. Michael J. Fox fit the shoot into a break from family ties, spending weeks sweating under heavy werewolf makeup. Then, Back to the Future hit theaters in July 1985 and turned Fox into the biggest star since the Walkman. Suddenly, the studio had a great idea. They delayed Teen Wolf's release by 7 weeks and rode that wave of fame as hard as they possibly could. The marketing went into full overdrive, with posters loudly announcing Michael J. Fox is back from the future in a new comedy, about as subtle as a wolf howling in a classroom. Even then, the studio still expected the movie to fail. Director Rod Daniel showed up to an early screening with only about 4 other people in the theater, probably wondering if his career was about to end in an empty movie house. But by that same evening, theaters were packed and lines were wrapping around the block. Turns out, all you really need for a hit is perfect timing, a rising star, and the nerve to take full advantage of both. Number 3. Italy and Brazil marketed the movie as a completely different film. International distributors saw Michael J. Fox's Back to the Future fame and decided that misleading audiences was a perfectly acceptable marketing plan. In Italy, they changed Scott Howard's name to Marty and retitled the movie Voglia di Vincere, which means will to win. They sold it as a straight sports drama and removed all references to werewolves. Imagine buying a ticket expecting a normal basketball movie and ending up with full-on lycanthropy instead. Brazil went even further and renamed it O Garoto do Futuro, which means the boy from the future. They marketed a werewolf basketball comedy as if it were a time travel sequel. You're looking good. Way to go. Nothing to worry about. It's fine. No problem. Not strange at all, right? Shouldn't have gotten his way, Scotty.
You're looking good. Way to go. Nothing to worry about. It's fine. No problem. Hot out there, isn't it? Shouldn't have gotten his way, Scotty.
Brazilian audiences showed up expecting DeLoreans and got dunking wolves. The confusion must have been spectacular. The wildest part is that it actually worked. Teen Wolf opened at number 2 in the U.S. on August 23, 1985, just 7 weeks after Back to the Future, which was still sitting at number 1. The film went on to make about $80 million worldwide on a $4 million budget. Turns out you really can trick people into seeing your movie by pretending it's a completely different one. And in 1985, before the internet could instantly expose your creative marketing choices, you could get away with it just long enough to cash the checks. Number 4. The Howard house was on the same block as the McFly house. Teen Wolf and Back to the Future don't just share Michael J. Fox, they share the same neighborhood, the exact same street, actually. The Howard family home is at 1727 Bushnell Avenue in South Pasadena, which you might know as Lorraine Baines' house in Back to the Future. George McFly's house was also just down the block at 1711 Bushnell Avenue. Fox filmed scenes for both movies on the same suburban street, sometimes while Back to the Future was still shooting with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly. So one actor played 2 totally different characters on one block, pretending to be in both 1955 Hill Valley and 1980s Beacon Town, maybe during the same week. Imagine being a neighbor on Bushnell Avenue in 1984. Monday morning, that nice Fox kid is surfing a van in a wolf costume, and Wednesday afternoon, he's wearing a radiation suit running from a DeLorean. Your therapy bills probably needed you to take out a second mortgage. Number 5. Fox couldn't make a free throw, so they hired a ringer. For Michael J. Fox, driving a DeLorean through time was super easy, but ask him to make a free throw, and he just couldn't do it. After 2 weeks of practice, director Rod Daniel watched Fox try a foul shot and immediately made a phone call. Enter Jeff Glosser, a college basketball player from Loyola Marymount who could actually, play basketball. Glosser spent hours in full werewolf makeup, fur, snout, fangs, everything. Sometimes he sat in the makeup chair for 12 hours just to dunk a ball on camera. Both he and Fox survived on liquid diets because the glued-on muzzles made chewing impossible. Every basketball scene became a carefully planned dance. Close-ups of Fox looking determined, wide shots of Glosser actually making baskets. Movie magic at its best. The extras didn't need instructions during the 6-day game shoot. They were genuinely excited to be there, probably because watching a werewolf repeatedly make 3-pointers never gets old. Daniel later said they kept about an hour of the most embarrassing sports footage ever taken. Somewhere in a vault, there's proof that Teen Wolf could dunk, but Michael J. Fox absolutely could not.
All right, guys!
All right, let's play a little ball here.
Which makes the Back to the Future skateboard scenes even more impressive. At least he could stay standing on wheels. Number 6. The cast was much older than their characters. Teen Wolf's high school students were not teenagers, not even close. Michael J. Fox was 23 playing 17-year-old Scott Howard. His on-screen best friend, Jerry Levine, who played Styles, was 27. Mark Holton, who played Chubby, was 26. Mark Arnold, who was Mick, was 27. Susan City, who was Boof, was 22, and she was the youngest of the group. The average age of this high school cast was in the mid-20s. Hollywood's reason? Child labor laws.
Well, Scott Howard,
Hey, Boof.
aren't you afraid of disappointing all your fans?
Look, Boof, I can't help it if the whole town has gone wolf crazy.
Actual teenagers can only work a limited number of hours, but adults can work 12-hour days without breaking the law. Studios wanted flexibility, not realism. This wasn't only true for Teen Wolf. The whole 1980s ran on adults pretending to be teenagers. Grease had 30-year-olds in Letterman jackets. Beverly Hills 90210 started in 1990 with a cast that could legally drink at every high school party they filmed. The actors had finished puberty years before playing characters who were supposed to be going through it, which is why everyone looked suspiciously grown up and capable of acting like adults. These weren't confused teens trying to figure out life. They were grown adults pretending to be confused about a life they had already figured out. Number 7. The entire shooting finished in 3 weeks. Teen Wolf's whole shooting schedule was totally crazy. 21 days, 3 weeks. That's about the same time most sitcoms take to shoot just one episode. The movie was filmed between November and December of 1984, carefully squeezed into Michael J. Fox's Family Ties break.
I made a pact with myself never to speak to you again.
And that break only happened because Meredith Baxter Birney was pregnant with twins, so the show paused filming for her storyline. Fox's agents saw a chance and immediately booked Teen Wolf. What was supposed to be a 5-week shoot got squeezed into 21 days because the budget was tight and the schedule was short. So Fox spent 3 weeks running around in werewolf makeup playing basketball he couldn't really play, all while knowing he had to go right back to being Alex P. Keaton as soon as they finished.
I'm trying to get a grip on this. I really am.
Is Thorn still on your back?
Yeah, Thorn, some Neanderthal named Mick, and the entire basketball team.
When filming ended, Baxter Birney went back to Family Ties. Fox returned to his TV schedule, and nobody knew that this rushed little werewolf movie would become one of 1985's biggest hits. Number 8. Susan City accidentally slapped Michael J. Fox a little too hard. When Boof slapped Scott's face in Teen Wolf, it looks real because it happened many times. Susan City had no experience with stage fighting, so when Rod Daniel yelled action, she just hit Michael J. Fox hard again and again. Fox handled it like a champ during the first take and the second, but by the third time, when she accidentally hit him for real, Daniel finally stopped filming and thought, maybe we should teach her how to fake this. Enter the stage slap, that Hollywood trick where you make it sound like a hit without actually hurting your co-star. It's gonna get a little rough. Hey, watch your fingernails.
It's going to get a little bit rough. Hey, your fingernails.
Revolutionary idea, I know. City practiced the trick while Fox probably wondered if his face would survive the shoot. After several adjustments and a few more accidental hits, they finally got it right. Dramatic sound, no real violence. The final version keeps the energy of those first takes, which makes sense. I have a quick question for everyone. If you suddenly became a werewolf, what would you use your powers for? Drop your answer below, and while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more than a full moon boost to your jump shot. Now let's get back to counting up with number 9. James Hampton auditioning for Coach and leaving as the dad. James Hampton came to try out for Coach Finstock, but ended up with a completely different role because Michael J. Fox had ideas. After reading scenes together, Fox suggested Hampton try out for his dad instead. Director Rod Daniel looked at Hampton's calm, steady presence next to Fox's high-energy hyper-personality and thought, yeah, that works. Jay Tarsis got Coach Finstock, and Hampton became Harold Howard, the werewolf dad.
Wait a minute, Dad. I mean, you knew about this? You knew about this and you didn't tell me?
I was hoping I wouldn't have to. Sometimes it skips a generation.
Plot twist, though. The dad role needed hours in werewolf makeup. Hampton later said the makeup process was really miserable. It was heavy, uncomfortable, and not at all what he expected when he came to the audition, but it worked. Hampton's acting gave the movie its most real moment. A father calmly explaining to his teenage son that turning into a werewolf isn't a curse, just weird family genetics. You know, normal dad stuff.
What I'm trying to say is, the werewolf is a part of you, but that doesn't change what you have in.
The whole story shows that sometimes the best casting happens when your 24-year-old star acts like a director during auditions and everyone just goes along with it. Also, never trust a role that doesn't mention makeup or prosthetics in the job description. Hampton learned that the hard way. Number 10. The complete soundtrack was never officially released. Teen Wolf has music people remember. Too bad you can't actually buy most of it. A record and cassette came out in 1985 with only part of the movie soundtrack, then disappeared faster than Styles' dignity. Original copies now sell for $200 to $500 because collectors love pain. The biggest missing song? Surfing USA by the Beach Boys.
If everybody had an ocean across the USA.
Literally the most famous song in the movie, played in the van surfing scene everyone remembers, wasn't on the official soundtrack. Licensing problems kept it off every release. You know, the one song people really wanted. Years later, a limited CD with 9 tracks came out in Germany and Japan, but it was still incomplete. Eventually, fans gave up waiting and made their own unofficial compilations, doing the work the studio couldn't. Meanwhile, the 2011 MTV reboot, which nobody asked for, got multiple official soundtrack releases with no problems. Life loves irony. Original Teen Wolf cassettes are still collector's items, selling for way more than they should. Number 11. Teen Wolf became a cartoon, then became a brooding teen drama. The success of Teen Wolf in 1985 led to 2 very different follow-ups that barely looked like the original, and that's being kind. First came Teen Wolf the Animated Series. In 1986, CBS looked at a movie about a sweaty teenager playing basketball in a fursuit and thought this should be a Saturday morning cartoon. Scott Howard became a cute werewolf mascot who solved mysteries between algebra class.
No, not again. Not now.
The show added a werewolf grandfather because apparently one generation wasn't enough to explain why this family keeps growing fur. The cartoon lasted 21 episodes before kids decided they'd rather watch literally anything else. Then, in 2011, a full 25 years later, MTV saw Teen Wolf and had a brilliant idea. Keep the werewolf, remove the fun. Their reboot took out the comedy, the basketball, the van surfing, and replaced it with 6 seasons of shirtless brooding, supernatural mythology, and teenagers with perfect hair fighting alpha packs. The MTV version ran for 100 episodes and built a loyal fan base, which means a whole generation knows Teen Wolf as a moody drama instead of Michael J. Fox dunking in fur. The reboot completely overshadowed the original, showing that abs and angst will always beat comedy and sports. Number 12. Fox hated the experience and refused the sequel. Michael J. Fox does not remember Teen Wolf fondly at all. In his 2025 memoir, Future Boy, Fox calls the film not my magnum opus and describes the script as hackneyed, which is polite celebrity talk for this was terrible. Fox later said he felt thrown to the wolves, literally and figuratively, learning that working actors sometimes end up in projects that care more about tie-ins than quality. The difference compared to the professional set of Back to the Future must have been brutal. When Teen Wolf 2 was approved in 1987, Fox said absolutely not. Jason Bateman had to do it instead.
It's not as tough as it looks.
Thanks, Michael. Here's the thing, though. Fox also said Teen Wolf showed he could carry a movie on his own, even one he wished had been made anywhere else under any other conditions. It was a tough lesson and a first look at Hollywood's less glamorous side, but it taught him the difference between a paycheck and a passion project. Sometimes the roles you hate teach you more than the ones you love. Fox just wished this particular lesson had involved less fur. Number 13. Product placement was obvious and uncomfortable for Fox. Teen Wolf put product placement everywhere. 7-Eleven stores, candy brands, basically anything that would pay to be in a werewolf basketball movie. The worst part was when Michael J. Fox, tired and covered in 25 pounds of fur makeup, was handed a candy bar during filming and told to pose for promotional photos. Fox, understandably, was not happy. He complained about being turned into a furry billboard while barely able to breathe through the makeup.
An explanation? Jesus Christ, Dad, an explanation! Look at me! Look at you!
Fox later wrote that this moment showed the difference between Teen Wolf's chaotic set and Back to the Future's professional one. The product placement deals helped cover Teen Wolf's small $4 million budget, but they also made Fox determined to never do the sequel. Lesson learned. If they give you candy and werewolf makeup, your movie probably isn't winning any Oscars. Number 14. The bathroom transformation scene took a whole day to film. The bathroom mirror scene, where Scott watches fur spread across his face in horror, lasts about 1 minute on screen. Filming it, though, took an entire day. Makeup artist Jeff Dawn and his team made the effect using layers of prosthetics and fur applied in steps. Each step had to be glued on, filmed, taken off, and replaced with the next layer to show the fur growing slowly. Repeat all day long.
I'll never forget, I had started another film. This was long after we finished principal filming on Teen Wolf. And they wanted to do the transformation scene, and they needed to do it all in one day.
And also very uncomfortable for the guy in the makeup chair, which was Fox. Between each shot, Fox sat patiently while the crew scraped glue off his face, put on new layers, and got ready for the next setup. Sounds fun, right? The careful work paid off, though. 1 minute on screen, 1 full day of fur, inflatable bladders, and Michael J. Fox's endless patience. Sometimes movie magic looks easy because someone spent 12 hours making sure it would. Number 15. The van surfing scene used real stunts with safety measures. That famous scene where Scott surfs on top of a moving van was based on real events. Co-writer Jeff Lowe did urban surfing in college, which he now admits was extremely dumb. The production team had to figure out how to film this dangerous stunt safely. Michael J. Fox wore a harness for close-ups, while a stunt double did the wider shots. Jerry Levine, who played Styles, got wired through the van roof in his clothes before surfing because don't do this wasn't an option. They even got a police escort to clear the streets, turning an illegal college stunt into a real film production.
We can't wait for June. We'll all be gone for the summer.
Fox later said it was a moment he'd never forget and never do again, which is celebrity talk for that was terrifying. The scene set to the Beach Boys' Surfin' USA became so famous that college students immediately started copying it, because when teenagers see something dangerous in a movie, their first thought is obviously, let's try that. Eventually, safety warnings had to be given to stop kids from surfing themselves into the emergency room. The lesson here is this: don't base movie scenes on your dumbest college memories, and if you do, make sure the police are there to watch. And there you have it, 15 weird facts about Teen Wolf. Which fact surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the movies and shows that shaped the 80s and 90s. Until next time.